Money shame gets stored in your body when you're really young and you don't really even know it's there. We get so good at masking it that we forget that it's even there. And it affects pretty much everything in your life, especially as an entrepreneur. And if you want to have a spiritual business where you feel good making money, you're going to be blocking yourself from manifesting money in a way that feels fun and easy and flowing if you have money shame. Here's an example. It could be that you're afraid to sell. You feel like salespeople are sleazy jerks, or you don't promote yourself. You could have some money shame, or you hide the amount of money you have or the amount of money you spend, or you limit your money desires. This could all be rooted in money shame. And this comes up for pretty much every single person I work with. And I know it well because, man, I used to live in money shame. So that's what we're going to talk about today, money shame and how to overcome it using a really simple tip. And you know me, I always like to dig into you understanding what money shame is and how it operates so you can bring to your conscious awareness what you have going on in terms of money shame. So then you can choose consciously how to interact with money, feel good about making money, feel money confident, so that you can feel like you have a magic wand to create whatever you want in your business, whatever amount of money you want, and feel really good about it. That's what we all want, right? So let's get to it. Okay, so I want to share a story with you because my money shame goes deep. Deep and for many years of my life, and until I really started to learn a lot about wealth consciousness and how to overcome shame, I was really stuck in it. So, it's one of the stories that popped into my mind when I was thinking about money shame was when I was on food stamps. My kids were going back and forth between me and my ex-husband, and every Friday night he would come back and him and I would go to the store, and I was on food stamps. And so there's so many interesting elements to this. I would go through the store with the grocery cart with him, and we'd be putting stuff in. And I was always very, of course, conscious of the prices of everything and trying to get the things that fit the budget and that were the cheapest. And then we'd get up to the checkout, and I would walk down the, rows of people, of the checkout people, and I would be like, oh my God, which one is going to judge me the least for being on food stamps? And I would worry like, oh, I had like a winter coat on. I lived in Boulder, Colorado, and it was really, snowy and cold out. And I was like, God, what if they judge me that I have this like quote unquote nice coat that I had actually bought like at a discounted rate? And I just thought like, oh, they're going to think that I'm spending money frivolously, or they're going to judge me for being a bad mom because I'm on food stamps. And I had so much money shame going on. And so they started working on the floors in the grocery store, and it turned out that we would go kind of later in the evening and they didn't have any people checking out, and you'd have to go to self-checkout. And secretly I was so happy because I was like, oh God, I don't have to talk to anybody. They don't have to know that I'm on food stamps. Like, you get this card, it's called an EBT card, and it's like a credit card, but everybody knows that it's food stamps. And I was just so embarrassed about it. I didn't share it with any of my friends. They didn't even know I was on food stamps at the time. Most of the people that were in my surrounding didn't have kids, and that we were in grad school, and they had money. And so it was just this shame-inducing experience, and I'm sure my son could feel it. I injected a lot of these money beliefs into my kids. So, whatever shame you're dealing with in terms of money, maybe you weren't on food stamps, and maybe your money story is very different than mine, most likely. That's okay. This shows up in very different ways. And I want you to remember, shame is a very low frequency, and there's a lot of things that we can feel shame about. And it really starts in our childhood. So when we're young, our parents are giving us unconscious downloads into our being, and we store shame in our body and in our mind, and it creates limiting beliefs that we then play out in our adulthood. So one thing you can do to start to understand shame and money shame is look back across your childhood, not to beat your parents up. This is not useful. It's just for you to get conscious about it, is to remember what are some of the thoughts and beliefs and things that I was told about money growing up. And one really easy tip here is to go back to your very first money memory and see what it was, and start analyzing it from this curiosity perspective and going, what did that first money memory have me believing? I'll give you an example for me. We were at a restaurant, and I was probably about 5 or 6, and they were going to pay the bill with this big group of people at the church that I went to when I was young. And I remember there was like this stress around it. And at least it felt like stress to me. And I said, just write a check, because I thought like checks, you could just write whatever amount you want. I didn't know it had to be backed by money. And everybody at the whole table, it was like a lot of people, laughed at me, and I hid under the table. And in that moment, I developed the belief, ooh, if you don't know what you're talking about, don't bring it up, about money especially, right? And so it caused me to quiet down and shrink, and it was embarrassing, and embarrassment is on the spectrum of shame. And so it caused me to have this weird relationship with money. Of course, I didn't know this at the time, but looking back and analyzing it, I can see that that caused me to not want to bring up conversations around money if I don't know what's going on. So this is something that I learned to break through, and now I ask a lot of questions about money because it's the only way you learn. And I want you to go back and look at your belief system around money based on just starting there. What was my first memory of money? And put it in the comments if you feel like sharing some, small variation of it, because I know you could write a lot probably. Just share one of your first money memories and how you think that affected you. And then I want us to look at the scale of consciousness, because this is really powerful, because shame is a low frequency. Okay, so this is based on David Hawkins' scale of consciousness in his book, Power versus Force. Really powerful scale. Look at the bottom. Shame and guilt are at the very, very, very bottom. And I promise you that if you have feelings that are negative about money, where you feel embarrassed about it, or you feel like you want to avoid it, you probably have some money shame going on, and you got to clear it in order to start to break through and up level to where you get to these higher levels of consciousness, so where you can get to courage and acceptance and love and peace and joy and start to feel better about money. You want to move up this scale of consciousness, and you want to start to release the shame. You want to acknowledge it, sit with it, and then release it, and then move forward so that you don't have to carry that anymore. And remember, this is never about beating yourself up for how you've been feeling. It's for you to today, from today forward, feel good about making money and move forward with that. And this is a habit that you're going to build. A healthy relationship with money, like an empowered relationship where you're stepping into wealth consciousness and feeling good about money, takes practice. It doesn't just happen overnight, especially if you've not thought or looked into these things in overcoming your money blocks and haven't thought about the spirituality of money, let's say, or building a spiritual business. This might be a little bit foreign to you, and that's okay. Just start where you're at. Maybe you know all of this and you've heard of David Hawkins in the Power versus Force book and know about the scale of consciousness. Awesome. Keep doing what it takes to step a little bit at a time into releasing shame and guilt and fear and doubt and uncertainty and all those things about money that make us not have successful businesses. My goal for you is to have a business where you have this spiritually evolving business. And when I say spiritually evolving, it's like you're interacting with your business in a way where you're growing and moving up the scale of consciousness to feel better and better and better. I like, NFA Money channel is focused on money confidence, because confidence is to know, love, and trust yourself. So I want you to know, love, and trust yourself about money so you feel really good on the money-making journey, and you can just step into this powerful place of, I make money doing what I love the money I make, money loves me, it's attracted to me, I feel like I have a magic wand to create whatever amount of money I want under any conditions. That's money confidence. And you can only have that when you release your shame and your guilt and your fears around money, because you can't simultaneously be moving up that wealth consciousness ladder and feel really good about money while also holding unconscious shame. So that's why this isn't so important to start to just play with, consider. Here's a really fun tip and a simple strategy and method I use. Anytime you notice yourself feeling any shame about money, I want you to do this. So whatever you're doing right now, just stop and practice this. So you're just going to close your eyes, and you're going to take your these two fingers, forefinger, middle finger on both hands, and just tap on your chest, kind of like right below your collarbones. And you're just going to say 3 times, I release money shame. I release money shame. I release money shame. And then take both of your hands and put them on your heart and say, I love money and money loves me. I love money and money loves me. I love money and money loves me. and then just drop your hands and then just go on with your day. And every time you notice yourself having any negative shame or guilt or fear thoughts around money, just do what I said. And you could say, I release money fear, or I release money guilt, I release money anger. It could be any of those. And you just release, 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 and then say, I love money and money loves me. And just practice that. And remember, with NFA Money Formula, when you repeat, it causes internalization and it reprograms your money mindset. So this is a practice that I want you to just start playing with in order to release money shame, so that you can feel good and raise your vibe with money and get into those joy and peace and enlightenment feelings, so that you can attract money your way more easily and just feel freaking awesome around money. Watch the next video down here. This is going to be more about removing your money blocks. And until next time, NFA Money Making High Fives.